So for our final movie for 2022, we have a black comedy starring Anya Taylor-Joy. Blake, this was your pick. We'll talk about The Wise, but let us know what movie you wanted to talk about.
What movie I wanted to talk about? What do you mean?
The Menu.
Oh, sorry. I was like, other than the menu? I was like, this is the one I wanted
I
to
hope
talk
it wasn't something other than The Menu.
What show is this?
Yeah, so the menu. Yeah, so Ray Fiennes, great cast, right? Bunch of guys. Nicholas, is it Hout? Hout? How do you say his name? Nicholas
I say Holt.
Holt? Okay.
Like Colt 45.
Holt, yeah.
Colt 45.
Yeah, Holt 45. But great cast, a bunch of people I think we typically really like, and kind of just, I mean, this is the kind of thing that these types of movies, which is like the trailer gave you nothing, you could really tell nothing about this other than this. There's like a very ritzy, dining experience for a very select group of people, and I kind of walked into this not knowing anything about it other than that, and these type of movies are I think they're either big hit or miss, and this one for me, this was a big hit. And what it is exactly that. It's Nicholas Hoult and Anya Taylor-Joy are kind of your focus characters on your way out to what is, like, I believe, in like a private island, even.
Right. Yeah. Exclusive.
Very exclusive dining experience with this incredible chef and his incredible kitchen staff, who put on these fantastic dinner evenings that are all curated, as they say these days. And but this evening, well, it doesn't go like the others.
It's a special one.
Yes.
In the past few years, and you've mentioned, Ralph Fiennes, Anya Taylor-Joy, Nicholas Hoult, John Leguizamo is in this. Yeah, and he's great in this. So we've seen a lot of ensemble casts in the past. I mean, Glass Onion just came out, so we saw another very, very good movie with an ensemble cast. But I think The Menu, it's up there as one of the best in years. I mean, this is a really strong collection of actors coming together.
Yeah, it is. And I would it's not like a typical, like, each person gets their shining moment kind of stuff. It's not really like that at all. No. It kind of centralizes particularly on Anya Taylor-Joy's character, and you kind of witness the evening through her, which I actually thought was like a really cool way to do it. Because you don't get overdone. You still, there's a lot of that retains a lot of mystery instead of kind of popping around and seeing what all is exactly happening behind the scenes. And I really enjoyed that aspect of it. It made that ensemble cast a little bit more. It gave their screen time a little bit more like validity, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it was a great idea because you are seeing it from Anya Taylor-Joy from her perspective. But I think that's so important because so this movie, like, one of the big things, it's rich people acting poorly, common in thrillers and horrors, but always it's a really fun thing to examine. But and it's using foodie culture as its springboard to make fun of all that. But we're outsiders. We're not the Uber. We're not going to afford, was it $12,000 a plate or something like that? Yeah, we can't afford that. So we're like her. So it's really good to put us in her shoes. We're seeing things because she's an outsider. Everyone else can afford to be there except for her. She just kind of lucks into it, type of thing, or bad lucks into it, maybe you can say. But that was such a smart idea. And you're right. Like, not every character is treated equally. And that's a problem in some ensemble movies. But in this case, not every character is equal. So I thought it was very, very well done. Very smart.
Yeah, I agree. The one of the things that I found kind of interesting about it is, the story kind of unfolds as because I didn't have a real grasp for about 30 minutes what the actual, like, where this, like, horror thriller was actually going to start to manifest itself, because it's definitely weird. You're like, this is definitely a weird evening, people are behaving strangely, and you start to get the sense that, like, oh, everybody here has something to do with him and the island and etc. But as it unfolds, you're kind of like you said, like you were talking, like as we're watching it through her, we're kind of privy into their ultra high society world,
Yeah.
but the like the pressure of like what's happening, like it really isn't happening to us, like you said, like this isn't for us, like this is, so like to me that kind of took me back and really just like, okay, well I'm just here for the ride, you know, I'm
Mhm.
not worried, I'm not scared, I'm not tense, I'm kind of just along for the ride to see what's going to happen to all these what I presume are total jerk offs. So yeah.
Well, that's the thing about it too, right? Because it's like you got this very posh setup where it's like you're already like, it feels like you're already like, if you're a guest there, you're kind of already like on pins and needles just because everything is so expensive and opulent, and there's so many rules that are very kindly explained, but you can tell that and I forget the name of the character, the one who's giving them the tour, basically. She's like the second in charge.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like she's hardcore, so you don't want to step out of line for fear of like a no soup for you situation. But it starts to become when it starts to become really uncomfortable where you're like, why would you stick around for this? um it does a good job of shifting the tension, right, from just that like polite, like, okay, gotta be on your best behavior, to like, I don't know if I want to be here anymore, to like, oh my god, we got to get out of here. It does a really good job of like kind of going through like the full spectrum of all suspense and tension.
Right.
Yeah, you're right. And you both have touched on it. Like in the beginning, the whole movie is tense. Like, and it is a funny movie. But the whole
Yes.
time there's that tension throughout it. And in the beginning, it's because you're like, ooh, I get to see what it's like on that 1% life. I get to,
Mhm.
but I don't want to fuck it up, and I don't want her to fuck it up, like,
Right.
because she's she doesn't quite understand what's going on. She's definitely not a part of the foodie culture, though she's trying. And she's not describing dishes as fiendish or anything like that. Uh, um, then the story kicks in, and then you start to see what direction things are going in, and then it's a different type of tension, and then it just eases so well into it. And it never ever loses that comedic edge. Like I mean, there's people in the theater like laughing out loud during multiple moments in this.
Sure. Oh yeah. I think my audience, I think half the audience got it. Half the audience totally did not. Because I think even when it was over, I saw a couple of people look at each other like, what the fuck was even that? You know? But yeah, it does have this like quirk. And I don't know how much we want to spoil about the actual like, you know, end and, you know, kind of last act and stuff. But the I thought, like you said, I thought like there's even kind of a moment at the very end, like I chuckled, like, you know, it warranted a chuckle out of me, because I think that was the whole point, the opulence and all that stuff, you're supposed to be kind of like gawking at it.
Yeah.
And the whole last sequence was just over the top, you know, definitely. And played on that kind of like crazy sense of humor. And
Absolutely.
yeah, because if it didn't have that, I think we would have had a much different all experience with it. You know, I'm not sure we would have walked out of it going like, yeah, you got to see this, you know, let's do a podcast about it. You know, we probably would have been like, you know, it was cool, but you know, and it's like everything else, which this doesn't necessarily.
Yeah,
It's
this
a
is
really good balance of the humor and
Yeah.
and the creepiness that whatever's
Right.
happening.
yeah.
It's just such a great
Just real
balance.
dark. Yeah, extremely dark.
Mhm.
The and one of the best exchanges in it is John Leguizamo. He's an actor who's on I'd say the downslope of his career, and he's there with his assistant played by Amy Carrero, I believe is how you pronounce her last name. They have this wonderful exchange about emails and and what is it, references, and that whole thing was improvised, like just like
Wow.
a fabulous scene. And he's one character, and we're talking about rich people acting poorly, like he's kind of maybe the least evil of everyone there, almost to the point to where you feel bad for him, because the reason he's there is really silly,
Yeah.
like to the point of like that's stupid, but in that moment it worked so well. It was so funny.
Yeah, they're I mean, not that anybody really got what they deserved that night, really, but yeah, he and his assistant, they were the ones you were kind of going like, God, geez, like, well, she was kind of a piece of shit, and he kind of was
Yeah.
using people, but God, I
Lying.
mean, they seem like nice folks.
For the most part, yeah.
Yeah.
And much like a dinner there at the restaurant, that's meticulously paced. Like the
Yeah.
pacing in this movie is so well done. Like it gives you enough time to take in the meal, like to take in that
Hmm.
moment to really enjoy it, shocked and to laugh or whatever. And then it moves on to the next one seamlessly. Like it never lingers too long on any part.
Yeah, I actually love even the way the camera work was for all that stuff. It kind of had like this gentle kind of like swaying back and forth between characters, and it wasn't, it was very like relaxed. It didn't wasn't like a jarring like fast cut, over here. It was like
Right.
everything was all very smooth and, like you said, very meticulous. Yeah.
And this movie, it's kind of it's not like Old Man or others that we've seen, but this is almost a single location movie. Like
Right.
95% of it takes place in a dining room. And this one, it's different. You don't get that feeling of claustrophobia. At least I didn't, but you do get the like, I need to escape. It's partially because of the situation, but like they use one room so well in this.
Oh yeah, and just the idea, just that the fact that they've told you it's on an island, it takes a boat to leave this place. Like
Mhm.
just that alone kind of raised my tension. It's like, oh shit,
Yeah.
like that's not good. But yeah, they utilize that one location, like, and the dining room almost has like a kind of a rubber band effect where like at some moments it feels really large, and then some moments it feels really tiny, and
Yeah.
it's kind of that old Hitchcockian kind of camera play. And this movie was pretty old school on a lot of levels, and the
Mhm.
use of the set, just like you said, was really neat, really neat.
And it all culminates in a and I what I think is like one of the best endings of the year, in that it's so common sense. Again, it's one of those things, much like the John Leguizamo character, where it's like an Occam's razor thing, where it's like it's so in your face that it's almost like, I can't believe that it's that simple. It's almost stupid how it is, but I
Right.
love the way that it ends.
Yeah, I think some people are gonna have a hard time with it actually, but yeah, I loved it personally.
I do too. And you know what? I don't want to I'm not gonna say much about it, but the ending features one of the best meals I've ever seen. And it was the first thing I actually wanted to eat in that whole movie, which says a lot about my sophisticated palate.
Well, this movie is making fun of like foodie culture and things like that. So I saw an episode of Somebody Feed Phil on Netflix, and he goes to Japan and he goes to one of these high-end restaurants that's exclusive, like the menu. And what they had done was they made a dish that's similar to the menu, where they're using tweezers to put things together or whatever. But they also had speakers in the plate, and there was microphones out in the forest behind the restaurant, so the sounds of the forest were coming through your meals, so you were eating the earth.
They should put the sounds of the animals that you're eating in the meal, like,
I
Uh.
know, right? It's like
ooh.
some neatest murder action going on there. Oh, the menu, definitely check it out. It's probably, it's where you live, it's probably in theaters right now.
Probably still
Like,
playing, yeah.
yeah, it's out there right now. But if you don't have the time or the inclination to go to a theater, it is coming to HBO Max on January 3rd. So that's just right around the corner. So you're gonna have a couple of options to see the menu.